is our trial site near Cambridge. This is where we do a lot of the development work and the testing of current products. We've got another site down in Gloucestershire where the company is based, and between these two sites we can, as I say, develop new products, test current ones. This is a lovely greenhouse where I spend a lot of my time, and it's one of the most enjoyable parts of the job. What I'm doing today is potting on this blueberry. It's mid-spring. Shrubs that have been in containers are coming back into life, starting to get active. It's a very good time to think about potting them on. This is a blueberry. It's been in here for a couple of years, so I've kept it going with liquid feeding. But there comes a time when it's beginning to get a little bit pot-bound, ready to move up to the next stage. And as always, don't increase the size too quickly too soon. This is 5 litres and I'm going up to 10 litres. Now, because this is an ericaceous plant, acid-loving, I'm using our SylvaGrow Ericaceous peat-free. So, like many people, I haven't got acidic soil at home in my garden, so I can't grow blueberries successfully in that soil. But they will do very well in containers, and I get very good crops in the summer from my blueberries. The important thing to remember is to keep the birds off them, because they love them even more than we do. So for an ericaceous shrub, rhododendron, azalea, those kind of things, use an ericaceous compost. If it's an ordinary deciduous shrub, you can use SylvaGrow multi-purpose or SylvaGrow with added John Innes. And a good choice for a permanent planted container is our new John Innes range. SylvaGrow John Innes number 3 is very good for mature plants. So, as always, we want the new compost level to be the same as the old. So, some compost in the bottom first. You'll see most ericaceous plants have very fibrous root systems. You may not even be able to see that this is actually quite pot-bound. It's very fibrous and fine, but it is ready for potting on. So, as with all the SylvaGrows, SylvaGrow Ericaceous is very free-flowing, so it's very easy just to sift it down the sides of the old container. Goes in there very easily, and making sure that the new compost level is the same as where it used to be. So that just slips in very quickly and easily, just all the way around the sides. There we go. Now, what you'll see there, though, is that we've got a 5 litre original pot. So there's still half of the compost in this pot. It's virtually spent from a point of view. It's post-winter, there'll have been a lot of winter leaching. So that 5 litres has actually effectively got very little fertiliser in it. We've only got the new 5 litres that's gone around the outside. So it's important to consider how much fertiliser this plant's going to need going forwards. So you can deal with that either by adding controlled release fertiliser granules at the time of potting. Those you'd incorporate into the new compost before you started putting it in the new container, and that will take care of the feeding for many months. Manufacturers will tell you how much to use on the pack. For an ericaceous shrub, particularly in an area of hard water, it's a good idea to use an ericaceous liquid feed, one that's specifically made to give the right balance of nutrients for these acid-loving plants, and also to help to keep the pH down, keep the acidity of the compost going. So that's the SylvaGrow Ericaceous. I would say it's probably got enough for about 6 weeks of new growth of this plant, and I'll be thinking about using a liquid feed reasonably regularly from about 6 weeks post-planting. One nice thing to do, I've got some of our lovely silverbark pine mini mulch. These are lovely pine chips that will just finish this pot off very nicely. There's quite a lot of compost showing here. This is a multi-stemmed plant, but it's a little bit like a single stem. If you have a tree in a pot, there's an awful lot of compost which is very vulnerable to evaporation in hot weather. So putting a mulch on the surface can just help protect it from that surface evaporation. And our pine mini mulch, it's a very attractive finish for a containerized pot like that. So today's message really is don't let your shrubs get too pot bound. 2 to 3 years is probably the maximum, but keep checking and pot them on, but don't overdo it. No plant likes sitting in a lot of wet compost. If the roots aren't in the compost, the plant can't get to the goodness there, so don't overdo it. And just finally, one point about watering. As we go into the late spring and summer months, the vulnerability of plants in containers to desiccation is huge. If we get rain, it's very tempting to think that that will deal with our hanging baskets and everything that we have in pots. We need an absolute deluge for it to make any difference at all, despite the way it might look. So don't assume that any summer rain is enough to take care of the watering of your containers. You have to keep at it. Use the weight of a container to tell you whether or not it needs watering. You can easily start to learn the sort of weight that a well-watered pot should be. But as I say, important message: don't rely on the summer sun, summer rain alone to keep your hanging baskets and containers well watered. But I'm looking forward to a lovely crop of blueberries in the summer from this and 1 or 2 others that I've got. If you do this, you can enjoy some too.